on through because it is a beautiful day to be empowered. Welcome to the Empowered Morning Show where we rejoice and be glad in the day because we know God could
Yes.
have said, no, this the last
Nah,
night today,
yeah,
and that's where you were at.
nah.
But he saw fit to wake
Mm,
us up
mm,
this
mm,
morning, and because he did, we're gonna be glad
mm.
up in it. I need y'all to get that
Yeah.
energy, get that thing in your mind where every day you wake up, baby, because you don't know. It's a brand new day, fresh with
It's,
God's mercy, fresh with God's goodness. So why would you wake up and be looking all crazy like, here's another day and I don't want to
yeah,
do this?
I know.
It's
I
a
mean,
blessing to do whatever it
it's
is.
such a blessing. We made
Yes,
it to we are March 20th, 2026.
yes,
You
yes.
know that's a long time. Like it's a day that we have never seen, but God had a plan for us on this day.
Oh,
If you can't get excited
day.
about anything else, get excited that this is the day that God, you didn't have nothing to do with this. God decided
Listen, you didn't go
to
to
wake
sleep,
you
and,
up.
and, and just because you set your alarm doesn't mean that don't mean anything. You know how many people's alarm is still going off and they can't get up and take it off because
And
they're no longer here. So don't think you control anything because you don't. God
you
has
know,
is set in motion, but we thank Him. We are grateful for Him. And Miss Phyllis said, "Yes, another day fresh with God's goodness." Do you
and
know that
opportunities. You
marinate in your spirit, fresh with God's goodness? I mean, if you walk in goodness, because the word says goodness and mercy shall follow me all
oh,
the days of my life.
ALL,
All the days of
ALL.
life. That means that whatever you are thinking, honey, listen, get it in your mindset that all my days, there's goodness and mercy following me. That means God, He sees about me. He knows about me. He cares about me. He makes sure that I am good because when He created everything, He said, and it was good.
And
So
it
if
was good.
this mercy is going to follow me, it's
And
good.
I have to remind them this, Angela, because I haven't told you. I reminded y'all this in a long
Come
time.
on and run
So
with it.
let me give you another reminder. There's only 8,810 promises in God's word, and only 7,000 of them have your name on it. That's all. That's all. You do the math.
That's
Do
all.
the math. Do the math. And every
7,000
day
of them
is
with
a
your
new
name
day.
on it.
And every single day is a new day. So you have 8,810 promises just to walk in, to enjoy in. And over 7,000 of them, Phyllis, Farika, Patricia, have your name written on them. Sign your name. You know when they call your name, you like, oh, that's me. That's
That's me.
me. That's me. Why you up? Because they didn't call your name. It
Yeah,
was my name.
no, they were talking about me. It's my turn. Exactly, exactly.
Oh, so
And so I want to go ahead and get us started for the day because Miss
yes.
Phyllis said, hallelujah, that he got my name on it. Yes, Miss Patricia,
My
yes,
name.
he
And
got
I
my
have that
name
cute
on
signature. I can't wait to write them
it.
on
Girl,
all them promises.
listen, we say you need to sign for this one. You know how when they come to your house and they have something that you know you got to sign for a package, you got to put your name on it because
That
it's yours. It's for you, and so you got to sign for it. Get
yes.
prepared to sign for it. You sign, sealed, and delivered because it's yours.
Yes.
Get that in your
Yes, but we
spirit
have
for
to
the
bring
day.
in. Okay, we have to get focused because we
Yes,
can
you got to get
look.
focused.
I can
So,
I can float on that for all.
amen to that. Amen. Like Farika said, present. Absolutely.
Yes.
So last night on the Melanin and Marriage podcast, we had the privilege of Esmery and I. So we had the privilege of speaking with one of the contributing writers. And y'all know the contributing writers of Melanin and Marriage magazine. If you haven't got your subscription, you need to go ahead and get it. Tag somebody today, call somebody today and tell them it's $36. You got paid today, or if you didn't get paid today, you're going to get paid next week. If you're not getting paid next week, guess what? The first is coming up. You're going to get your Social Security, disability, the third, whatever it
Cause
is, when
the
it comes,
15th just
the third
passed.
Wednesday, the fourth Thursday, whatever it is, somebody, and if you're not getting paid by anybody, ask somebody, sow a seed in me, because I need to get this magazine in my life every month. I need to go through these pages and get this inspiration and motivation and knowledge about relationships. So
Yeah.
it was so good last night, baby. We had to bring him back on for y'all know what they talk about double headers. We had to bring him back on as a double header because
Yes.
so much good information. So I'm going to go ahead and bring to the virtual stage none other than Mr. Anthony Banks.
Good morning, good morning,
There
good
you
morning,
go.
good morning. How y'all doing
Good
this
morning,
morning?
good
Y'all
morning, good
have
morning.
y'all got a lot of energy this morning. I'm gonna tell
Oh,
you.
man, we brings it in the morning. You hear me? We bring
Yes,
it in
yes,
the
Brings
morning.
it. It's an assignment. You can't take them assignments lightly.
Exactly. We
yes,
say
indeed.
empowered in the morning. You can't be up in here talking about, okay, everybody, well, good morning. You know, hope y'all
Yes.
doing good. Hope everything's going to be okay today. No, we got to
I
come
hope.
in, letting them know.
Yes, I
Get it
love
up.
it.
My
I love
mama
the
used to
energy.
say, Anthony, rise and shine. When I used to
And
be a little
give
girl, we
God
used to
the
be like,
glory.
rise and shine, baby, rise
Give
and
God
Yes,
shine.
the glory.
yes.
I haven't heard that in forever.
What? The rise and shine?
Rise and shine. Give God the glory.
And
Thank you,
give
Glory.
Miss
God
Smith.
the glory. Yes. Everybody's telling you good morning,
That's up,
Anthony Banks. We are super excited to have him here. As I said, he is a contributing writer of the Marriage and Melanin, a Melanin and Marriage magazine. And
Mhm.
baby, March, he came through with it because the topic for March was power couples. And so, I said last night, when people think of power couples, you're thinking about, oh, they must be out here doing a doggone thing. They must live
Mhm.
in a nice house. They driving nice cars. They got money in the bank. They got paparazzi, flashing cameras at them. People wanting to interview them. Good morning, Miss
Good
Lisa.
morning, Miss Banks.
Let me represent and let y'all know I'm in the house. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes.
We're
That's
happy to
my
have
baby.
you here
My
and
boo in the
happy
God.
that you're. He said,
I
come
know
on,
that's right. You
let me
better
go ahead and get
claim
out
yours.
how we talking. Say
Hey,
it
she
again,
has
Anthony.
my name.
That's my baby. My boo in the gospel.
Look, there you go. Now you know. This is the thing. March was power couples. And one of the beautiful things that Mr. Banks did was to do an article, and the title is The Blueprint. And
Wait
it's
a minute,
from
wait a minute, wait a minute. Before you do the blueprint, you got
Mhm.
to talk about that fire. The fire God lit in Eden. Man,
Oh, well, you know what? That's right. I forget because he's a poet as well.
yes,
So
honey,
thank you
honey.
for
I was
bringing
Yes,
in the
yes.
bed, Anthony, and I was in the bed, and I was like, "Okay, God,
the
okay." What? Like I
Eden.
was all in.
We don't
We,
always look at her in that vein, and we don't when we read the Bible, when we talk about the curse of that God gave her
Hmm.
of the labor, we don't necessarily look at it as a curse. Now, of course, men don't look at it as such because we don't have that pain, but we
Right.
don't see the other side of that storm.
yes,
We don't see the birth of life. We don't see that she is the mother of life, and so we don't look at her in that vein as we should. But she
Hmm.
birthed a nation.
yes. This
Yes.
is so beautiful. It just, I love the way you start off. It's how you start off your
Read it. Let
articles.
me read it so
It's
they can
the
hear.
start is sister. I have watched you. Sister, I have watched you from the moment your hand met that fruit. The serpent whispered temptation, shimmering, and still you reach. God marked you with labor, yes, pain carved into your bones, but from your womb rose the world. Every cry in humor, every breath a promise. You are Eve, mother of beginnings.
Yes, yes.
The
Mother of
mother, the
beginnings.
Of beginning.
mother of beginnings. Like nobody, I mean, you have heard it, but I haven't heard anybody break it down like
Mother
that.
of beginnings. That is
The
true.
mother of beginnings. And it is so true. Like you have heard, mother women are the ones that give birth, da 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 da. And it's just like ran
Hmm.
over. But you brought it to the real of how God started it. Mother, you are the beginning. Without you, without this woman, there's no
Without the
beginnings.
vessel
Yes,
of a
yes.
woman, that's
There's
where
no
life
beginnings.
comes forth. So when
You
you say the mother of beginnings, for one, that really should sober women to understand that we are some powerful individuals that God
Yes.
chose to allow us to be the mother of beginnings.
And then
Yes.
y'all can't really see it, but it's even the photo that he used. The photo that he used for it is it just takes you all the way back, because not
Yeah, I
only
have to
in
give credit to whoever was
Absolutely. Absolutely.
oh
the,
That's
well
good.
the chief
he did
editor of that article that add that
oh
fire, because they added that fire to that post,
oh
and I really love
Yes.
it.
Shout out to Dr.
yes
Marisa Bludorn, who is our magazine designer. So
eh,
yes, she pulled that out and it
Yeah,
complemented
it
what
was
he
powerful.
said. It was a
eh,
very
eh,
powerful image to complement
it
a very
was.
powerful point.
That is so powerful. And I'm going to let us move on. But I have to just say, you are the Eve, mother of beginnings, gardener of first light. The garden whispered your name as you walk between shadows.
Mm.
You know, a lot of
It's the
times
way with words.
when we talk about Adam and Eve, we only focus on temptation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we only focus on the evil of that experience, and we don't necessarily look at the beauty that came from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured during this month of Women History Month, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was important to highlight the importance of that birth. You know, that we not we understand that. We understand, you know, through life, that even some of the women that weren't barren ended up having children later. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I just wanted to highlight, you know, another side of Eve that we don't often talk about.
Well, you did it.
Because
Well, we salute you
We
for,
salute
doing
you.
that
I'm
and putting
telling
out there.
you.
And
I'm
tomorrow is,
telling you.
for those who don't know, tomorrow is National Poetry Day. And
Oh,
so if you know a poet, reach out to them and shout out to them because poetry is next level of
mm,
wordsmith, of being
yeah.
able to bring forth imagery with your words. Because a lot of times, we're talking, but it's the way you frame it. It's the way
Yes.
that lay it down that gives people inspiration, gives people, for some people, poetry can bring them to tears. For other people, it gives them clarity in things
Yep.
that maybe ordinary conversation will not. Sometimes poetry, it speaks to your soul. That's why a lot of
Yes.
times, even when you think about it, when somebody says, I want to give you a card because it could say it better than what
Yeah.
I could say, right? The card, it conveys what I have, what I want you to say, what I want you to know
Mm-hmm.
deep down. And so shout out to you for being that.
Yes.
And Banks, let's go on and share with them because I need them to know back when you was in junior high school, you was in here trying to put them words together and help brothers out in the world as they
yes,
maneuver there. So share that story with them.
yeah,
Yeah. Where did it come from?
I was a wordsmith back then, you know, when because spent a lot of time at home, you know, in my own personal time because I was an introvert. You know, so even though I played sports and stuff like that, you know, I met people, but I spend a lot of time on my own. Sometimes my folks didn't even know I was in the house. But during that time, I used it to put my pain on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes my pain actually come out in love letters. And
Wow.
so one of the methods that I used to use to write love letters is I would go into the bathroom and pull all the shampoo bottles, the lotion bottles, the bath foam bottles, and
That's
get all
good.
of the ingredients off of the bottles so I could use the different fragrances, a different language, and infuse it into a love letter.
That
Or
is
sometimes
so great.
I would create a poem out of it as well. But most of the time I use it for some of my metaphors, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know, just kind of throwing those things in there. And a lot of people back in the day, they use like music titles or songs and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
decided to switch it up.
Come
Well,
on, Banks was saying you over here smelling like some luscious strawberries.
That's
yes.
right.
Them. It's made with the crushed apples and
Yeah, my nickname in high school was
Imagine
Cuban.
getting something like that from somebody and you're thinking like, I've never had anybody tell me that. That's
Yes.
on next level
Hey,
stuff.
I was getting
Even
35 cents off them letters, man.
Hey,
hey,
hey.
make it do what it do. But you know what? I
Yes.
want to get back to the article because when we talk
Yes.
about power couples, again, the world's view of a power couple is one way, but he came through and said from adversity to a spiritual power couple. And there's
And
a huge difference when you talk
yes.
about what success looks like in the world with being a spiritual power
Yeah.
couple. What made you choose that distinction?
So, just as you said, a lot of people always think about power couples as somebody with materialistic things.
Uh-huh.
But God don't look at those things. He look at your heart.
Mm-hmm.
He look at the people itself, and when you invest yourself in God, He pours into you deeply and abundantly. And so He also gives you the tools to overcome a lot of the adversities that you have in your relationship. And so, in order to protect your covenant and to keep the peace of that covenant, once you invest in God, He will turn you into a power couple,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual power couple, because that is what you need, because that's the foundation of any relationship. We could play around with it and try to do it all on our own. But we see how that gets us, in fact, that's what gets us in the adverse situations at times.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so, yes, God said He would give it to you abundantly, and He will overflow your cup.
Yes.
Abundant is a whole lot more than $1,000.
Come on. Come
You better
on.
let
So
somebody
much more.
know. I think that we get things
Yes.
so twisted, period, because we always associate something that's in overflow or excess as
Yes.
something material or money
Yes.
driven.
Because that's
It's
where
not
our mind
always that.
automatically
Yeah, our
goes.
mind always goes to something that's backed by a dollar bill. When in
Mm-hmm.
reality, abundance in peace, abundance in
Abundance
joy,
and joy. Yes.
abundance in
Health.
love. And yes, it's so many other things
Abundance
that
of
we
just
super.
living and not just
Mhm.
existing, because it's as when you can have abundance of living, your life, everything that you see looks different than just existing. And we all have been there in some time in our life when we was just existing and living life. Those are two different things, but I love the abundance of living.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
mean, our design purpose is to be disciples.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we can live in that is to be spiritually grounded. And so God God wants us to walk in His image. And a lot
Mhm.
of times when we think about that, we only think about the physical image
Mm-hmm.
of what God looks like,
Right.
but not the image of spiritual lifestyle, to walk in His footsteps.
Hmm. And to have the
Look at
fruit
it
of
in
the
that
spirit,
vein.
to have that fruit of the spirit, that is the image and likeness of God. When you
Yeah.
start breaking it down from that perspective, it looks a lot different. Sparkle, do you have his article up?
I do.
The blueprint. Go to the
Uh-huh.
blueprint because Marie did last night. She read the very beginning of how it started out because I need people to understand where he went and how he started it off. But before you start reading, Miss Phyllis says, "What was your nickname in high school, Banks? Since you was up there writing about juices and berries and crushed apples and all that. Did you have a
Cupid.
nickname in high school?
My nickname was Cupid.
Come on,
Cupid,
you better
the Valentines that people think it
Yeah.
only comes
see.
around
You
during
better
I
Valentine's.
was the black version.
He was the Cupid that didn't
version of
just show up one day. That Cupid that kept on coming in that overflow. That
I
you
was the
was
one
not
that
just on
112
one
sung
day,
about.
it was year round. That is too funny. Go ahead on,
yeah,
Banks. But yes, Sparkle, read the beginning part of it.
yes, because the beginning, I'm telling you, it's the beginning. And because, as a writer, they say that you're supposed to capture their attention.
Capture,
And he
yes,
does, Anthony, you do such a great job at
yes.
catching attention immediately. Because I thought I was just going to skim on over it last night. But then I started reading and couldn't stop until. So I want to speak to the couples who are sleeping in separate beds. not because you don't know how to share space, but because life has worn you down so much that closeness feels heavier than distance. I
Ooh.
want to speak to the couples who still love each other but are exhausted, tired of fighting, tired of explaining, tired of feeling misunderstood, unseen, or emotionally alone while standing next to the person you once felt safest with.
Mm.
I have to say, I'm going to do this one. I
Okay.
want to speak to the ones who did not plan to grow apart. Like just life just got loud. Responsibilities got heavy. Survival quietly replaced intimacy.
Y'all
And
gotta let
so
that marinate.
Woo!
You
Right
gotta let that
there.
marinate. Really.
You
That's
have to, because every
heavy.
married couple should sit down and read this article together.
Absolutely.
Together.
Together.
Because
Yeah.
in here you can relate to every, it's a one of these feelings you have felt one moment of the time, or you feel it all of them.
Unseen,
You can
yeah,
relate to
unheard.
somewhere in there.
Growing apart, having distance, feeling like I ask you a question. You know how they say that somebody says, oh, how was your day? And they move on before you even give an answer. It's like
yeah,
when
Yes.
somebody says, how are you? And you just say fine, but they don't realize that your eyes are sad.
That you don't care.
Yeah, that you've checked out. But people are so accustomed to just moving on with life. When you're with your partner, you expect them to notice certain things. A
Yes.
partner who you have developed intimacy with, they know the inflection in your voice. They can tell, wait a
Yeah.
minute, hold
Yeah.
up, something is
Yes.
wrong. They can
Something,
tell how you
whether it's
move, your
over the
movements are
phone,
different.
look,
yeah.
Thank
whether
you.
it's on
Thank
the
you.
phone
Mhm,
or it's in person, you can,
mhm.
when you have, because Anthony,
You
studying your woman, right?
yes,
When
you
you
become in
study her,
tune. You definitely become in tune with who you're with, and
Yes,
sometimes it can be insulting to the person that recognizes that something is wrong with you.
yes,
yeah,
And that creates a distance because now you're not invested in me being the safe space that you need in order to uh, decompress or
now,
to go through the
yeah,
things that you're going through. So a lot of times when that starts to speak loud in your relationship,
mm-hmm,
right? And
mhm,
then once you start pulling from that vibe, you start distancing yourself even more and more because it's like,
yeah,
well, if I'm supposed to be the safest place that you have, or I'm supposed to be the one that you talk to when times are hard, why are you avoiding?
yeah.
Even if I'm the problem,
Even if I'm the problem, yes,
still let me know that I'm the problem so that I have the ability to course correct.
yeah. And I
because a
love
lot of
that you
people
said
sweep
course
it under the
correct.
rug, or
Yeah,
they get into their feelings and then they stop communicating. When you
yeah,
Yes.
stop communicating, because at the end of the day, yes, your partner who's been with you should know you enough, and you say, well, you should have known, but in some cases you should have
no,
spoken up.
you should have
You
said
can't expect
something.
people to read your
A
mind. You can't
closed
expect
mouth
people.
don't get fed. Now, your
Yes.
closed mouth is not getting the help that we need. And
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, it's so great that you said that, because when you have a woman that has already struggled with not being seen,
Mm-hmm.
misunderstood, it don't, just because she just got married doesn't mean that those deep down liners have went away.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't know how your PTSD is going to show up in your next relationship until
Absolutely.
you're actually in one.
Mm-hmm.
But don't use it to sabotage the relationship that you
Yes.
see is good for you. Because sometimes that's an immediate reaction to preserve your emotions and your feelings. You want
Mm-hmm.
to sabotage the relationship before it starts. When you start to see things, oh, this is too good to be true, then you start pulling from that old pain.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
Mm-hmm.
that old
distance.
pain and start to be infused into your relationship that you're in now. Cause it's like, well, I'm gonna damage it before it sneak up
I'm
on
gonna
you.
get you before you
I'm gonna
get
get
me.
you before you get me. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the old stuff becomes comfortable because you've been used to it.
Yeah,
And because you don't believe in your heart that you deserve this type of love, you self-sabotage. But you
Yep.
mentioned also in the article about don't weaponize the conversation.
yes,
Don't hit below the belt. Don't
yes,
use that
Don't.
as, oh, well, you might as well go sleep on the couch or go in the other bedroom or something.
Yes.
You never get this again. Whatever it is that you feel like you're going to do, that should not be your first thought in your
Yeah.
relationship. It should
Because
not.
hurt people hurt people. So you
Exactly.
hurt me. So now that you had hit me under the belt, now I got to come back and hit you under the belt. And now we
Exactly.
in this back and forth in this battle. Now it's war in your own home.
yes. Because
Exactly.
sometimes the easiest thing to do is to create conflict,
It is. It
and
takes attention off.
our egos won't allow us to overcome what we're angry about because we want to be right.
Mm.
True.
And that's the thing when we start, and that's why God is important to be infused in your relationship. It is very important for him to be the center and the first and foremost of your relationship, because
Mhm.
God he don't look at you. He don't have to. When you look towards God, here's the thing. When God is no longer the center of your relationship, the shift on the partner becomes your peace, your validation, your healing and fulfillment. And that is too much pressure to put on your partner for them to have to validate everything about you and to create your own peace.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that person is the source of your discourse, you can't rely on them to bring you back that peace. You have to sit
Yeah.
down, you have to pray as a
Mm-hmm.
couple. You really have to come to the table and say, you know what, we have to get back to what God has intended for this relationship to be. We spend
Mm-hmm.
all these thousands of dollars to go to a wedding, stand at the
Mhm.
altar,
Mm-hmm.
and profess our life to each other under God.
Mhm.
And then we just forget God existed
Mm-hmm.
after we leave the reception.
Yep.
And
Come on.
so that's
Yes.
the thing that we need to get back to. We need to understand what God love really is.
Yep.
We do. And
But
he
if you have
referenced the
never had it, some people have never had love until marriage.
I
mhm.
agree.
Mhm.
So now you coming
Yeah.
in and not knowing what love is, and maybe your partner has been loved and understands love, but you come from, so that's already that everybody's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to pour in me a little bit more, and I'm gonna have to pour into him because I need to receive some of that love that he has already experienced, and he needs to fill it up and help me fill it up. So we filling up tanks of together, but you gotta fill together. It's a reason why they say light the candle together at the wedding.
Yes.
Or pour the sand or whatever you want to do, but they have you do it together
Mhm.
for a reason.
Because you become one. And when you
Yes.
become one, you don't have to battle life on your own.
Yep.
But in that oneness, you still infuse God into you,
Oh yeah.
into your life. So it,
He is the light.
551 times the word love is in the Bible.
How many?
551.
Okay.
330 something in the Old Testament.
I love that.
And
That's
so
good.
if you don't know love in your household, and I know I'm not going to be one to sit here and say, you should know love because God exists and God is
Right.
love. I'll say this, we all are products of our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And if we don't know what that love looks like, because our first relationships really start at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how
Absolutely.
we're shaped on how we're going to move within our environments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's why we really have to get back to the foundation of what life is all about. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, but I'll say this. The Bible is one of the best history books
Mm-hmm.
that you can ever read that can answer all the things that you ever have gone through. And if you don't know love, John 3:16 will tell you, for God so loved the world, he gave his begotten son,
only begotten son.
that
Yes.
whosoever believe in him shall not perish, but have life
Amen.
everlasting.
Amen.
And so what greater gift to give humanity than the
Right.
sacrifice of your son, for our
Mhm.
sins. As we go out in the street and we talk about, oh, my boys in the street, they showed me love. This right here is the definition of showing you love.
Mhm.
Why would you not want to follow that?
Exactly.
So that's the one person you need to think about trying to follow more of, and
Mm-hmm.
and showcase what they really love. But let's get back to the. I don't want to go too far off onto the.
Right, because when Sparkle read the beginning piece and you start realizing that distance and space can be created in your home
Yes.
to the
And you.
Yes,
point where, and I
yes,
think about it's a Tyler Perry movie that he had where I forgot the actress that was with him, but they were married. And he started noticing that she would wear different types. She would take time to lay out her clothes. She would do stuff because she was going
He
to the
was doing.
office
Yeah.
because she no longer looked to him to make her
Mm-hmm.
feel happy and whole. She started going somewhere else where she was getting attention, where she was
Yep.
getting that validation. And the
Yep.
reality is, like you said, when you start replacing God's love and validation and being seen in her by Him and having that relationship with Him, and you put it on your significant other, they can't handle that weight because
They
they weren't
came.
designed to. However,
yeah,
thank you, Farika. Why
Yep.
did I get
Marika.
married too?
Yep.
So when you start realizing that, okay, my significant other is not giving me what I need, they can't because they're not God. But now that what opens the door for you to seek it elsewhere. The first person that said, "Oh, you look pretty today. Oh, did you
Yes.
have did you get your hair cut? Are you wearing a different or "Ooh, you smell
Yes.
so good?" You light up like a lightning bulb. You know what I'm saying? You just start looking like, oh, or someone tells you, "Oh, Mr. Banks, look at you. You done got fresh cut. Oh, I
Yes.
like that suit. You look nice."
Yes.
When you start putting things on somebody else that can't sustain it, then you start falling for anybody who gives you anything.
yes.
Anybody.
That's called the 20/80 rule. You get 80% of what you need, but that 20% is what you want. And
Mm,
so that's the part where people are allowed to invade your home, your space,
yes.
because you're looking for that partner to give you 100% of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you're not going to get 100% of everything in every situation, right?
No.
And
Right.
so some people reserve that 20% for those validating compliments, from other people,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
those workplace spouses.
Husbands and
Yeah,
wives.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and so that's when you start looking, and that's why it's important for you to look to God for your validation and not man.
Yeah.
But when you start being in tune with your spouse, their routines.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Or you
You
should, because you should make studying your partner
And
a top
and
priority.
let's say it real, not just the man studying the woman. Woman, you need to study
You need
yours
to
too,
spend
because
some
we want to
time.
talk about it all the
Exactly.
time that it's just the man's responsibility. No, it's not just the man's
Right.
responsibility. It's just as much your responsibility too to study him. You should know his patterns. When the last time you told him you look beautiful? Like you look, oh, you look good. You look
Mm-hmm.
handsome. He wants
Mm-hmm.
to hear that from you too.
He does. You want to get it at home before you get it somewhere else. But it's sort of like, if you go home and there's nothing in the refrigerator to eat, then what you gonna do? Go out somewhere else. So if you go to work and somebody bring you a plate all the time, then you're like, after a while, I stopped looking at my refrigerator at home
Yep.
because I'm so used to not getting anything there. I'm just gonna get it at work because such and such is
Yeah.
bringing me a plate. They're
I mean,
making
Yeah.
there
sure
are
that I have.
people that looks for service as a validation to our placement in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and service is a great tool to increase the intimacy of your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we keep using intimacy wrong because we keep thinking about a physical act
Yes.
whenever we talk
Absolutely.
about
Yep.
intimacy. But
Yes.
intimacy is very emotional, and
Yes.
it is an action word.
And
It's
it's
not a
intentional.
something that we just
Yes.
say, okay, well, I'm horny and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to be
Mm-hmm.
intimate. That's
Yes.
not
That's
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 not how
not it.
intimacy works.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Intimacy is a series of things that tantalizes your mind,
That access.
that
Come
leads
on, babes.
to
That tantalizes your
emotional
mind.
access and to
Yes.
your heart.
Let
Because
me
you
say
can
this
make
because I
better
think
love. You can make better love to somebody intimate through intimacy versus than you, and you ain't y'all haven't even laid in the bed, you haven't even touched her, but you can make the best making love sometimes is that emotional feeling that you was able to grab me, see me, and hear me, and really sit with it. You sit with that time. You're like, okay, let's hurry up and get to the next one. What
yes,
we're doing
Miss Phyllis.
next?
Miss Phyllis said, I learned from my past to have a successful marriage. It's very important to come into the marriage whole through Jesus. You have
Indeed.
to, you have
Oh
to
yeah,
deal with it.
sure.
But you
I
know
mean,
what? I
that's
was thinking as we were talking about intimacy, a lot of times when men go outside the marriage, women, the first thing they want to know is, did you love her? Because they're thinking if it was just sex, okay. But once you have an intimate emotional attachment where you care about this person, you want to know how their day is, you're asking her, and she's telling you her problems and you're invested. That's a
Mm-hmm.
different level than just a physical thing. Physical things can be cut off. Emotional things, you get entangled in that. So when a woman hears that you've developed an emotional attachment, then that's a problem.
you
And
know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
speak
flip
to,
it. I'm gonna flip it.
okay, flip it.
Only because women are emotional beings
Mm-hmm.
and they invest in relationships
Mm-hmm.
is one of the reasons why they ask, are you in love with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Because when they cheat, they invest their emotions
Mm-hmm.
into that relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're only speaking from their experience of how they would cheat.
Right. Okay.
And so, with that being said, they're going to ask those questions. Were you in love? And did it mean anything to you? Because that's how they feel when they go into a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
So sometimes the question is not necessarily to figure out whether or not they love. They still trying to validate their place and their position inside the relationship. Or the other side of that is they out there themselves and trying to make sure that, see, there's a manipulating factor that we don't always think about as well.
True. True.
Yes.
True.
And so
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not defending men. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to misunderstand that, but I just want to show the other side of how we process information.
Uh-huh.
Because men, we process information logically or analytically.
Right. Okay.
Women process information emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we communicate between men and women, sometimes men have to listen at her emotion and suspend the logic. And so we may be analytically correct, but emotionally wrong.
Mm.
I was gonna say,
But
hit the nail on
emotional
that one,
wrong. Come on.
That's good, and
That
it
is so good.
requires people to understand their role and positioning, which goes to yesterday, last night. Dr. Esmery did a thing, a spin a block type thing with Anthony. Rapid fire questions. When women, when she asked you about what's more important for a man, love or respect, and you said respect,
Respect
because
for
the
sure.
Bible
Mm-hmm.
says, men want respect, women want
Yeah.
love. That goes into what you just said because you all are analytical. And so, because you're analytical, you're not caught up in the emotion of love per se because of how you approach situations and how you logically think through things. Can you break down why respect outweighs love for you all?
That's a
So
good
for a
point.
man, our main mission in a marriage is to lead the household. we go out in the world, and it's not just about making money and bringing money home to take care of bills, right? What it really is about, we go out and we take all the heat rounds, all the bullets, all the bombs, all that stuff from other people. So in the course of us making money, we're taking a lot of flack from society and from the world itself. So when we come home, we don't want to have to take the same heat just to be heard.
Don't want to try. Oh, that's good.
And so we go out and sacrifice so that you don't have to go through these things. And so even if you decide you want to go out there and work, then basically you're understanding now what we go through. Don't put it in the sense that, oh, well, I work just like you do. Well, of course you work like we do. You decided to do that. But now you get to see what it's like to have to deal with all of that fire out there in the world. And then now you have to figure out how to mask it or take care of it.
Come on.
And so now that we have become an equal in the workforce, we now have to use a method of how to decompress when we come home.
Yes.
And so when you choose to say, well, you know what, I'm gonna make money. Making money don't make you the leader of the household.
No.
True.
Right?
Or the amount.
But I wanna touch on leadership also, because God employs men to lead and to love women as he loved the church. And he employed men to lead with the word, right? Not just with an iron fist. You know, if you lead with the word, then I don't know any woman that won't follow that.
Hey, that won't follow.
Yeah, because you're leading as a disciple of God.
Yeah.
And who would not want to, unless you just, you know, full of the devil. I mean, but even then you can transform if you're truly living in your purpose.
And you know what? I love that you are bringing this out, and we're getting everybody in the comments saying how good this is, because the reality is, because of the design of how God brought in Adam and Eve, a woman is already looking to a man to be the one to go out here and be the leader, because he was here first and God gave him an assignment. So internally, you're looking for that person who is going to lead you, because he's listening to what God is giving him instruction. So if he's in alignment, it's God, man, wife, and then children. When it's out of alignment, women feel like they need to course correct. So now you go out here and you try to run things. You go out and you assume the leadership role because you feel like if it's going to happen, it's up to me. And that's where the communication comes from, because as you partner up, you have to know that the man that you chose to lead you is the man who is listening to God. And you have to trust that even if it may not be the way that I would do it, God, if you are equally yoked, gave you the person that can speak to you, and he's speaking to what's inside of you. Not always where your mind is at, but he's speaking to the part inside of you that God gave him dominion over. And when you think about it, in essence,
You touched on something that was in my head while you was talking. God gave man and woman dominion over the earth, the skies, the sea. So he empowered men and women to labor through that together, side by side. And so a lot of times when we think about lead, we think about putting one person in front of the other.
Yeah.
No, you're co-leaders
Yeah.
of the dominion of your household. And so we have to start thinking of it as a partnership rather than to think about it as two individuals being leaders. And so he gave man and women the same power. He didn't say man would be a whole dominion over he said man and woman. It's specific.
Man and woman.
And woman.
Yeah, it's specific. So, we as man, we decide to change the words, to suit ourselves, to make us feel better in our own egos and things of that nature. But if we just stick to the word, it tells you exactly what it is. And sometimes when, it's not, women are not supposed to be at home. And if they do, there's a labor that is required to be there because that is your dominion.
Mm-hmm.
And so we misunderstand what that means to be a housewife or a stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
And sometimes we say it's a unforgiving, a job that's overlooked a lot of times, but It's not. You looking for validation inside your household because you're not within the community as most people are, because that's where a lot of validations come in. When you go out there and put on your Sunday best when you go into work and somebody say, well, we're looking sharp today, that's a small validation, for the preparation and time you took to get ready.
Mm-hmm. Or even a paycheck is to get a paycheck for the work that you did. And when you're a housewife or you're a mother taking care of kids, you're getting a paycheck too. It's just in a different way. And so what happens is you don't see the work that you do. You don't look at the children are doing well, or the home is thriving, or your husband is leaving out the door and he's happy and he's feeling fulfilled and he doesn't need anything outside of the world to validate him because he's getting inside. You don't understand that the work that you put in to develop what they say to make a home out of your house.
Yes.
There is a paycheck with that, but you got to be able to define what that paycheck looks like.
We need to stop minimizing. We need to stop minimizing what a spiritual couple looks like. We need to stop minimizing, our lives to paychecks. And a lot of times when you have people that stay at home, and sometimes it's by choice and by design.
Right.
But what happens is you start to compare your life to your peers.
Yep.
So
and even though you're living at a level greater than your peers, you're feeling like you're not putting in that effort to bring that money in to create that lifestyle.
Yep.
But all the things that you're doing, all the things you do to manage the home is a very important, because here's the thing. I was a service member. So I spent a lot of time away from home. And so it requires people to manage homes. If you look at a lot of these celebrities or NBA players that have long-standing relationships, it's because someone managed a portion of their life that was outside the business.
Yes, come on. Yes.
And so that's the partnership that we need in relationships, where we can complement one another and not be jealous of the success of your partner.
Yes. It's almost taking the success as
it's actually a team success. If y'all are together, it's not a one-sided thing.
You win.
Because we're a team. Absolutely. So let me ask you this, Mace, because when we talking about leadership and dominion and all of that, for a lot of women, they have problems with the word submission. So from your definition, from your perspective, what would you like women to know about being submissive as a wife?
Well, again, it goes back to the man that they have. If you don't have a man that has God leading his life, then you have to make a choice on getting another man. But if you should have okay, let me break down submission. Submission is just allowing you the opportunity to agree to something that makes sense. That's it. My man made a decision and it made sense, and I'll let it happen. That's submission. We complicating it. We complicating the word to the point where it's like, well, he ain't gonna tell me what to do. He's not telling you what to do. He's leading you in a direction.
Because this is still the mission. Like
Yes.
if you break it down, this is the mission of us. Like this is the mission that we decided. If he said we're gonna build a home, and you say, oh, okay, we're gonna build a home. The mission is to build the home.
Mhm. But
You know,
you
That is
the
sometimes
women
good.
don't have problems submitting at jobs. You
Oh
defer to
yeah.
whoever is over you to
Or
make a
submit to
decision.
their kids,
Oh,
Angela.
yes,
Nobody has a problem with submitting to the kids.
absolutely. But
you
it
know, you
I
becomes
know,
birthed them.
the greatest thing that I'll put it to you like this: the greatest thing that women submit to more so is they submit their temple to a man,
Mm.
right? And
Come
that is
on.
your greatest, that is God's greatest gift to man is your temple. And if you
mm,
can submit your temple and put yourself in jeopardy health wise,
Uh-huh. Life wise.
so
you better come on,
why would
Banks.
you not submit your heart and your mind and your soul to the person that you're
Woo!
giving your
That's
temple to?
good, Anthony. Come
Do you
on.
know what? Because the reality of life is that the world has taught us that giving up your body is something, you know, mind blowing. And you think that
Yes.
when I give him my body, or you know how women say, oh, well,
I'm gonna
this
put it
sex is
on
going to
him.
give, I'm going to put it on him. And you think that that supersedes everything else because you are using that and really weaponizing that as a
Hmm.
method
As
to
your
get what you
weapon.
want.
Mhm,
That is
mhm.
a weapon that you use to get what you want. But the reality, as you're breaking it down, is on a whole different level. And giving up your temple should be your most prized possession. But
Well,
because
if you
we're
go
not,
back to the poem, God's greatest gift to man is man, right? And so if God's greatest gift is us, why would we
Yes.
do anything less to cherish it?
Yes. Yes.
So you
And
can think about how you can put it on somebody as much as you want to, right? But you have to respect that temple that God created. And whatever we give birth, or we have all these baby showers and stuff, and we celebrate this life coming into the world, but when it get here, we lose sight of how much of a gift it is.
Mhm.
true, true, true.
Because it's but that's because the baby is not operating like you pet your picture that my baby is not going to be a choir, it's not going to be this. When the baby start being different, then that's when you like, ugh, this child is getting on my nerves. This is, but you prayed day in and day out to get pregnant.
And it's
You know,
funny
they
that you
say
say that because it's a switch up. You
they
pray for
say
the baby and you want it and you don't mind the labor because you're like, oh my God, you're going through so much in labor until you see the baby. And then it's like that pain was nothing. I go
It's
through it
gone
again to
away.
have my child. But
mhm.
when that child switches up and starts acting a fool on you in the grocery store, or they up all night and you saying, I need some sleep. Now you switch back the other way. And it's like we can't get it together and understand that even in the midst of crying all night long, that's my job, that's my child. And I'm gonna stay up because
That's what
whatever's
I
bothering
prayed
you,
for. We
that's what I
forget
pray for.
that's what I prayed for.
But
And
what you
that
Exactly.
didn't pray for and what you didn't take into consideration
is
is
the big.
that I'm gonna tell you, like we used to say in the army, your soldiers are a reflection of your leadership.
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
children are a reflection of your leadership.
Of your
And
leadership.
so
Come
when you
on.
start to see some of those things that you don't desire, you
Mhm.
then have to look at yourself and see, what did I do to create some of these things? And so we
Mhm.
have to reflect on how we led them down this path. And then we have to look at ourselves and see, ooh, was I like that when I was growing up?
Take
Or
accountability.
what environment did I put what
Thank you. That's what I was just going
atmosphere
to say. Take advantage.
am I putting my baby out in?
What
Or
Because
were you saying? What
what
were you
past
doing? What was
traumas
it fear?
did you
am I
pass along?
introducing?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We
So
are
so
winding down to the top of the hour, so I want to cover some things because Sparkle, as you read the beginning of the article, and you talked about the separation, and basically, like Deborah Cox, how did we get here? You
Yes.
said God specializes in rebuilding foundations.
Yes.
Oh,
God
yeah.
specializes in rebuilding foundations, and you gave us 5 points. So for the next 4.5 minutes, number one, recenter the foundation. What did you mean? Give us something on that.
So recentering the foundation is basically introducing God into your life. You really have to take a step back. Both of you have to take a step back and actually figure out what got us here.
Yeah.
And at this point, this is the part right here where you start to pray.
Commit to consistent
Yeah.
prayer.
Yes, this is where exactly this is the part where you say, you know what, we have to start praying to save ourselves.
Mm.
Amen. Number
And
two,
then
choose
too,
unity over winning. Give us a point on that.
So sometimes we want to be right. And even when we know we're right, and even when we figure out that we are right, we don't have to shove it in that person's face.
no.
You know, we just have to accept the fact that, you know what, they held themselves accountable, and we should move on and trying to figure out, okay, so this is what happened. This is what we came up with. What can we do in order to make it better? So the practice to that would be replace the blame with curiosity and ask, what are you carrying before you did what you
Why
did?
yes. What?
Oh, that's
Because
good.
if you understand what someone's carrying, that this was I'm trying to carry 10 bags at one time.
Yeah.
So of course I walk in the door and I see you standing there empty-handed.
You got to understand what somebody is going through
Yes.
in their totality for you to be able to, instead of blaming them for doing wrong, because sometimes when we do wrong, it's because we are in pain.
Yes. And then the third one is heal before you build.
Yes.
Woo! That one right there. That one right there, Anthony. That is exactly why my marriage failed. Because I wasn't healed. I didn't seek any help for my healing. Yes, I was a woman of God, but I was building into that. And then I went into a marriage that I wasn't ready for. My mentally, emotionally, as a person, none of that. But
So
tell me, what was your breakdown about heal before you build?
right. So unresolved pain will sabotage progress.
Mm-hmm.
And so power couples give themselves permission to heal through forgiveness, accountability, and spiritual growth, and before demanding change. So you got to be able to take accountable for your actions
Mm-hmm.
before you're able to move forward. Don't lie to yourself and say that I'm okay when you're not.
When you're not, yeah.
And so when you start lying to yourself, you create an anxiety within yourself that you start to say, I can't trust this person with my information on my heart, because you're not being truthful. You're not giving them the opportunity
Yes.
to help the situation to heal, because you're not being honest about how you feel.
Yep.
So
And
the
then
practice to that is name the hurt without weaponizing it.
Without weaponizing it.
Yes.
That part right there, that is so beautiful. 4, reclaim friendship and respect romance can return.
This one is very simple. You know,
Rewind.
understand what your friendships are all about, and stop just giving labels to friends without really meaning that they're what that means to you. And so if your loved one, your spouse, your significant other is your friend, then truly make them your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Then no one outside of your house should know anything greater than what you have inside your household.
That
That's
part,
good. That's
that
good.
part, that part, that part.
You should be able to talk to your friend. If you can talk to your friend about anything, then let me be the anything.
Yes. And because people should know, don't tell Sparkle if you don't want her husband to know. Don't tell her, because it's not that's who I talk to. That's my connection. So we are one. So if you telling me I can't talk to my husband, then you telling me I can't tell me.
But I wanna read this one. Power couples rebuild trust through consistency, dignity, and small acts of care. You
Yeah.
cannot hit below the belt when you're in
You
arguments.
cannot.
Yeah.
You
And
cannot.
you cannot use someone's pain in an argument
Yes.
because it creates an undignified situation, and that's one of the hardest things to come back from. But schedule intentional time with no agenda.
With no
Ah,
agenda. That part.
with no agenda. But
With
Tina said that's the one when
yeah.
you start thinking that for the person who is supposed to be the one where you two are coming together as one and you hit below the belt. Actually, you think you're hurting them, but you're actually hurting yourself as well because
Yes.
the two of you are together. You
Yes.
are a team.
Yes, you are hurting yourself
If we're a team and we're trying to win it and I sabotage the team, we can't ever win. When you
ever.
get below the belt, when you don't set those boundaries, where you don't recognize that I can't treat you like I would somebody off the streets,
Mm-hmm.
there
I
has to
can't
be a
treat
distinction.
you.
There has to be a distinction.
There's a certain level of fight that you don't have when you love someone.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Oh, come
Absolutely.
on.
Oh,
That is so alignment. We definitely bringing you back
we have
because
to bring him back
we're
because
gonna
this is
try to
too
wrap
good.
this last one up.
He's the last.
Align around purpose.
So adversity shrinks relationships when they become a problem center, right? So power couples expand when they become purpose driven. And so the biggest thing you can do with that one is, and that's why I use First Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient, love is kind, it is not easily angered,
It
and it
keeps
keeps no records of wrongdoing.
that part right
That's the
there.
part.
That's the part. That's the
That's the
part.
part. But
It
do you
keeps
know
no
that that's
record.
the part that's conveniently left out? Excuse me. People
Yes.
can talk about being kind. They can talk about all this other stuff, but they do not talk about not keeping records because the average person is going to remember. Well, you know what? Back 5 years ago, I remember when you
I
was doing
remember
this.
when, and and when you say I'm coming, when you repent to God, what does God do when you repent to Him?
He forgives you
He He
of
forgive you of all of
all
it,
And
your.
and He
he
don't
doesn't keep a
say,
record.
but Anthony, do you remember in 1985 when you da
Mhm.
da 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 da? He remembers it. No, it's wiped away.
Because
So
now
Yeah,
you're
why
saying, "Oh,
are
I
we? And
remember
if we
when you
supposed to
put your
live like
mama
Him?
before you. I remember when you let your mama tell you what to do about that." Oh, well, you
Yes.
telling me this now, but every time your boys come to town, I remember what happened last time y'all went out of town.
You
you know
gotta
why that
delete
We
some
happens?
keep
stuff.
I'm
scores.
gonna tell you one reason why that happens. Because we save how
Uh-huh.
we
And
feel.
we got it in the save file over
Yes.
here in that heart.
Instead of
Like,
speaking
It's
how
on the
you
hard
feel.
drive.
yes.
Yeah.
Ready
Don't
for
save how you
that.
feel with me. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong, tell me.
Tell me.
Just tell me.
Because
You're not gonna hurt
Anthony,
my
if you don't
feelings.
tell me, what we gonna do?
Yeah. I can't
Because the
correct it if you don't tell me.
reality is, you cannot, if you think about a court of law, if you don't introduce evidence, then the
Mhm.
evidence will not be taken into consideration.
No.
So if you say, well, they did this, and this, but if you never brought it to the court for the jury to listen to take that into consideration of why this person should be innocent or guilty, then you can't
Yes.
expect people to use that information if they don't know anything about it. You said something about you have to reveal what you say. You can't heal what you don't bring to God.
Without what
You
you
Yes.
can't
don't
heal
reveal
what
to
you don't
God.
reveal. You've got to be able to reveal your hurt, your disappointment, your feelings of anxiety, or your feelings of abandonment, or your disrespect. Because
Yes.
some people operate in life and they don't realize because nobody's ever checked it that your tone is disrespectful. How
Your
you
Mm-hmm.
handle me
deliverance.
is
That's that
disrespectful.
deliverance.
Right.
If
You
somebody
never
would have
say that.
delivered your food out to you the way you deliver your words, you would return it back to sender. Do not bring my food all smashed up and look like crumbs. But you expect that man or woman to eat the deliverance that you just delivered to me. Make it make. Of course
You
they
didn't
like
say
this.
bad.
Yes.
behavior. You expect bad behavior to be received because it's been received before. When you get somebody who is brought to you by God,
Hmm.
it has to be a special reverence. Just like we reverence God, you have to reverence the covenant that has been
Yes.
brought together. And
Yes,
that
Yes.
means that it
Angela.
doesn't allow for, there's certain things that this is a certain way. I'm not going to talk to my husband a certain way. There's certain things that I'm
I'm
not
just
going to
not.
say, because once a word comes out your mouth, you don't go back and pull those back. Because the reality is, as kids, what they say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never, however it is, the words will
Hmm.
stick with you
Yeah,
a long time. You remember something somebody
forever.
told you in kindergarten. Well, Miss Jackson told me I ain't gonna
Yeah.
never, you remember those things. So
Yep.
you can't think that
Once
words
the bullet
are not,
leaves the gun, it ain't no return.
it is not.
Yes.
It is not.
But
And the
if
damage that happens is a result of you not managing your
your work.
emotions to keep you from going, pushing
Yes.
you
Yes.
that far.
And patience is sometimes pausing. Let's pause this. This is a sign of my patience, because we're gonna pause right here so that I have time to get this together before I come. Because some things that you say hint to your husband, will you say that to God? If God was standing in front of
You
you.
already know that you wouldn't. You already know. You
But
already know.
but this has been so
It
good. Oh my
has. It
gosh, this is
has. It
good.
has.
To get more of his writings, his poetry, you have to subscribe to Melanin Marriage.
Yeah.
It's not just him, it's other powerful people, because God has just made us this unique. We all are anointed in special ways. We all have words that God lets us use, metaphors, and all that. Like Anthony said, he was on some
That's right.
shampoo bottles, using his anointing from the shampoo bottle. It's been a
Johnson and Johnson.
pleasure. And Miss and Mr. and Mrs. Banks, it's been a pleasure to have you
It
all
has,
here.
for sure.
Uh, that is a power company, a couple. If he's here, she's right there. If she's somewhere, he's somewhere. That
That's
they
right.
are intentional about being there for one another.
Mhm.
She is not on the screen, but she there. She's sitting there.
That's a beautiful example. That's a
That's a
beautiful
that's a
example.
awesome
I thank y'all
example.
so much, really and
It's the
truly.
weekend. Have
It
a
was a
good
pleasure having me.
weekend.
Thank y'all for
Yes, grab Melanin Marriage Magazine. Anthony, tell the people how they can follow you and your wife. Farika's talking about Johnson and Johnson.
Yes. No, that's the
um
banks and the banks.
I'm,
Banks and
I'm on
banks.
Facebook as Anthony Banks. That's one of the ways you can find me. And you can also get that link to Melanin and Marriage. You can communicate with me on that level. And just hit me on my DMs. When you have something that is in need, a dire need. Of course, we run that through my wife, who is a minister. Um,
So
and,
don't be playing what he said. No, I'm gonna run
yeah,
that.
Hey, already got the sermon on the
yes,
platter, honey.
yes.
Just
I
because
let
you see
God I let
it.
God use us in the way that is supposed to be, and there's
Absolutely.
order in how we do things as well. So
Amen.
I just like to thank you two for having me today and for sharing what God has intended for our relationships.
It has
Amen.
been an absolute pleasure. And also, he didn't mention it, but he's also a regular on Monday nights on Dope Living TV. So check that platform out. They're on social media as well. He's there, their relationship Monday. Check
Yes,
him out and hear the wisdom that he's dropping there as well. Because I'm telling you, you've given some good nuggets. Go back and catch the replay because he says some deep things. And I
He
need
did.
you all to start because we talk about healing for real, and healing for real sometimes requires you to go in, listen to conversations, get a different perspective because maybe you were always taught, hey, I got to use what I got to get what I want.
Yep.
There's a better way.
Yep.
Intimacy is not always sexually driven.
Nope.
Intimacy can come in spending quality time and having great conversations.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Shift how you see things and do things and watch how God can explode and expand what is going on in your life.
Yes, and the most beautiful part about this article that he wrote is not just for marriage, it's for everyday life. Like, if the nuggets that he is giving us is not just marriage, if you take some of these principles and live your life through these exact same principles that he has given you, you will see the abundant life because you will be in alignment with God. So, we got to go. I believe God. Do you believe God? We believe God. We believe God. We believe God. We believe God.
Yes.
See you on Tuesday. Have a
All
blessed
right.
Have a great weekend.